So please, let's go ahead and get started first with Mr. Saperstein on service thinking.
Thank you. It's nice to see friends in the audience, and I'm very, very pleased to join this group. I'm in the education space, I'm in the business space, I'm in the observer of trends space, and so I'm going to try to combine a lot of that in a very brief period of time to talk about our book, Service Thinking, that was derived from service science, which is an emergent discipline. But there are 4 questions that I'd like to frame this very brief presentation with. The question that all of us in education have to deal with is, how do we prepare people to participate in the emergent economy in a way that fulfills them and enables them to be productive? And let me use an analogy. What we're doing right here, I'm from Marin County, is like sitting in a hot tub. We're all sitting in a hot tub together, and we're being nurtured. And we're being nurtured with each other, in combination with other speakers, etc. This is a nurturing experience, a hot tub. When you're in school like Stanford, you're at a swimming pool. You've got your lanes, you've got your rules, you've got your matriculation, you kind of know where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be, and you've got a track. And there's a logic. When you're in the world of work, none of those apply, but we think they do, and we're really in the ocean. And the ocean has no rules. The ocean can be malevolent or benevolent, and a lot of people get in trouble in the ocean in the world of work because they're thinking they're in a swimming pool or a hot tub, and they're not. So let me use that analogy in terms of the challenge that we now have to enable people to be productive in a way that's meaningful and purposeful for them in their lives, and that should be what education is about. Second, how do we address big problems? Many of you here are familiar with Doug Engelbart's work. Doug wanted to raise collective intelligence, not just for the sake of raising collective intelligence, but address big problems. How do we solve big problems? By using technology tools to address big problems. Well, we got a problem with that in that we have a lot of inefficient legacy systems in healthcare, transportation, education. We've talked a lot about that today. So when you have structures that are inefficient and legacy, and you have technologies that enable for innovation, particularly for people who are trying to be productive in this society, it is a very frustrating experience, and particularly those of us who are training people to go out into the workplace. And how do we align their aspirations with reality? How do we align aspirations to do good with the reality of what the structures of the work world are? And so the task that we've taken with our book is, how do we enable people everywhere to discover innovative opportunities, because we can't wait for somebody else to give us a job that they've structured and we just fill. That paradigm is finished. We have to create our own reality together. And I think that's part of what we're talking about in this conference. Very briefly, we're in a service economy. Service is not 3 shoes in front of somebody in Nordstrom's. I mean, we tend to think of service as flipping hamburgers and that kind of thing. Service is the future of what most of us and our children and grandchildren are going to be working in, as you can see. And we're looking at the digital economy, which creates platforms for enormous opportunity in terms of creation of new services. And so what we're talking about now is something that we're calling the experience economy. Not simply products, but services that lead to individuals. And can we see every individual as a person? Can we customize the technology to be able to personalize for the individual as if we're serving one person? Some companies like Amazon have done that. Some companies like Google have done that. But we are looking at a very, very big challenge in order to make the technology enable for a much more personalized world that's based on empathy for a situation or an experience, and based on emotion. We have an emotional response to our experiences, and we're in the service economy to create experiences, not simply products. This is a major change. So these are some questions. You could read them, I presume. When we're looking at the customer experience, we want to engage them with services that are delivered by technology. Obviously, there are platforms, there are apps that enable us to deliver these services. How do we design innovative service experiences with empathy and with emotion? How do we employ systems thinking? So we're not thinking about companies and how do we make IBM or Cisco more profitable. Rather, how do we make a system work better? And within that system, there are many players and there are many opportunities, and it's not simply a vertical or a strategic business unit. We're blowing up, in a sense, the old corporation, and we're looking at a system in terms of its design, whether it be in healthcare, transportation, and you've got companies like Flywheel and Uber that are looking at the car as service rather than simply cars, okay? How do we employ the systems thinking for specialization with integration? You can integrate into somebody else's system by creating an app that delivers services, and it could be provided over Facebook, it could be provided over Google, it could be provided over many platforms. The idea is we're looking at individual innovation that is based on understanding business engineering, but for good purposes. There's a role of global mobile social platforms that we now have. Global, in that any business can be international. It's mobile because it's on mobile devices. The world is on mobile devices, whether it's an iPhone or an Android. Social, in that there is enormous amount of connectivity between people and the experiences are shared. Run, transform, innovate is something that is taking hold in corporations. It means you run your business with less resources in order to fund innovation, and you transform through that innovation. So there's continuous improvement. The only way to get continuous improvement is lower the cost. You lower the cost by using technologies, but you have to reinvest in terms of transforming to innovate. And then there's the success of metrics for the future. And think about that. Metrics are what you measure success by. So if the only measurement of success is how many sales you have, then where is the human component? Where is the empathy? Where is the sentiment? Where is the experience? So we have to come up with a whole new set of metrics that a lot of people are working on in order to measure success differently than transactions. That creates a different business environment, creates a lot of opportunity. So our book, The Forward, was written by Linda Sanford, who is a senior executive at IBM in enterprise transformation. You can see what she's talking about in terms of service thinking. This is our traditional view of companies and industries. We're looking at silos, right? IBM is a silo, Cisco is a silo, HP is a silo. If you look at the world as silos, then you have a very, very hard time finding entrepreneurial opportunities within what we are calling the constellations. So if you look at Cisco or IBM or any company as a constellation of individuals and you're connecting into those individuals, the opportunities are enormous because you're not going in through a silo, you're connecting through a network of individuals who have interests, and you create businesses with others. And this is where the collaboration happens. I've experienced this myself. I've worked with students who have experienced this. And the opportunity to see one another as stars in a galaxy in which we make connections with one another and we collaborate, and we have the technology to support that, and we don't have to look at either an industry or a company as a silo, opens up opportunity. And that's what this is all about, is discovering opportunities. So this is our model. I have a very brief, I'm going to take you through it very, very briefly. When we're looking at the top part, first we're looking at service as an experience. So we experience Starbucks, right? We have an experience when we go in, and we define our experience in a personal way, subjectively. There's the co-creation of value. Co-creation of value means we either have a data exchange, that by our activities in our cars get smarter, or by when we open and close our refrigerator and the food that we put in, our refrigerator might get smarter in terms of when to tell us to throw stuff out. Or it could be co-creation of value that if I put in my medical, all the pills that I'm taking, through a data deal, I could improve my compliance, or a Fitbit in which I'm co-creating value in terms of my own fitness by giving data and getting real-time information. So this opportunity to co-create value is very, very important. It's not like a can of Coca-Cola, which you're not co-creating value, you're consuming. We're looking at co-creation of value by exchange and the provider getting smarter as we get smarter in how we use it. We're looking at service systems rather than companies. I've got 1 minute, so let me just take you through this part of the model. Modular business architecture means we can break down every system into modules and find gap analysis, find where there are opportunities, hundreds of them in every single system, whether it be transportation, healthcare, etc. GLOMO-SO, I've already mentioned, is global mobile social, that we could scale businesses using mobile devices. Run, transform, innovate, we've already talked about. Continuous efficiency, reinvest in innovation, transformation. And then multi-sided metrics. When we have new metrics, we're able to create better ways of gauging success. This is not linear. You can enter it through any level. And what's the purpose? The purpose is to scale opportunity. This is open sourced. This is not proprietary. This is to make everybody think about what opportunities they can create, which is why we talk about these principles as the 7 principles to discover innovative opportunities and open sourcing it. Let me just show you one video for a moment that'll demonstrate it. Oh, yeah. Come on. I'm afraid can I get in here? I'm trying to get this video to work. Damn. There we go. This is not showing. There we go. I want you to notice the wristbands that these children are wearing. This is a camp in Mill Valley. See that wristband? This is what I'm going to close with. Stephen Cates, Mill Valley, 20 years, one site, Mill Valley School. 2008, went to 8 sites today, 34 sites. They're going to 100 sites. What enabled them to scale? Technology. They were able to create customer experiences by having examples are the kids wear wristbands. At the end of the day, photos and videos of the individual child's activities are uploaded into the parent's laptop. The parents can see what the kids have done. Obviously, the parents opt in. You can register for the camp online, and you can have any day you want so that it can be personalized. In other words, they use technology not to create the camp. They use the technology to enhance the customer experience and enables them to scale. They can order equipment from all over the world and have it delivered in pods by their locations. They don't have to store, et cetera. So they actually have people who have worked here in Silicon Valley who are working at a camp because they're scaling the camp for a wonderful experience, and they're using technology in the way that we're talking about in service thinking. So when you want to think about how this gets used, you don't have to think of FedEx or Amazon. You can think of Stephen Cates Camp, making the experience of the parents, the kids, and the community better. Thank you.
Wonderful. Let's give Jeff Saperstein a